Oh, hey, my name's Chris, and I'm from the number one support workers advice line. Today I'm going to talk to you about being careful and compliant in residential settings and in psychosocial support settings. So we need, as support workers, we need a great ability to read the individual support plans. We need to be able to interpret those, really sit with it. They need to be a comprehensive ISP. I have a method I'm going to espouse here shortly, but in this particular talk, it's about really reading and getting across and understanding the individual support plan, the likes and dislikes of a person, the triggers, what sort of things might annoy the person, what are any sort of underlying issues for the client. But just really getting across those issues. And if there's any questions, speak to your team leader. And we want to do it in a respectful manner, which is of strengths-based and of benefit for the client. So your ability to ask questions of your team leader and colleagues before in working with the client as you're being inducted and onboarded with the client. Train alongside colleagues so they can help you with particular procedures or management procedures that have to occur for the client. Also, do housework with colleagues. Do housework with the client would be the ultimate. The ultimate thing is to be doing with the client, and doing housework together is a great thing. So do personal care together as clients, as support workers. So just have each other's backs, but you'll see earlier there was in the personal care video, there was a lot of insight into maintaining respect and dignity for the client in personal care settings. You can do that as a team, but just making sure that you're adhering to to similar principles and similar ways of communicating with the client whilst performing personal care. Read policy and procedures, so they'll be readily available in all your settings and also via your HR. You'll be pointed toward any significance policies and procedures by your team leader. Really take those in and even contribute to the morphing or the ever-changing sort of social scape via the policies and procedures within your team. Read the WHS, be aware of all the fire exits and the fire safety plan where you meet, where you marshal. If there's a fire drill, take part in fire drills. Get good at that. Make sure you're trained. So you're trained in fire drills. You're also trained in first aid. Should be the minimum requirement of your job, your workplace. Seek other training like certificates in support and just deep dive into some theory. There's some really great theories out there on how to engage with people and maintain careful and compliant sort of service provision that's quality assured, is of a high standard. That's down to just communication on of what high standards are with your team, and the client will lead the way. So being compliant is about adhering to certain policies and procedures which are in place. So it might be a medication procedure and a particular way of delivering, assisting to administer the medications. There might be a particular flow chart or something like that, which we have to go through to get to the end result, which takes into account the person's dignity, their response, and pays homage to their capacity as well to consent to taking medications. You will have had medication administering training. Manual handling as well, being compliant with manual handling practice. That's within safe working environment, how to physically assist in personal care with move heavy objects, how to bend and stretch. Manual handling is a certificate that you need to have. You need to stay on top of those and be communicative with your team on how your manual handling practice can be improved. Compliant with the legislature. So being compliant with a big one here is restrictive practice, which alleviates all manner of archaic and old management systems around people's freedom of choice and agency. And human rights at the core of it. So that's been a really big one. It may sneak up in the form of a food or a grocery management system that's in place in a home, or you can go. I'll go through restrictive practice in another video. Up-to-date licenses and qualifications, so your driver's license up to date and your registration's up to date for your car if you use your car for work or insurance, etc. And making sure that your first aid's up to date, you're working with vulnerable people checks are all up to date. But your employer will help you along with this. Do find out if you're responsible for any financial things in the home. You need to do that ASAP. You need to report and acquit any money that goes out under your supervision alongside the client. The client will ask for it, and you will help them get it out of the money management system that's there. You'll help them, but just make sure you acquit it correctly according to wishes. So if $10 for morning tea is to be put in the ledger, then just acquit like that. Make sure you do it on a daily basis. Don't ever let that even get 1 to 2 days behind, because it can be very detrimental to your administration, and it just really piles on. It's quite hard once financial ledgers get out of hand. Ideally, clients want to have PayWave or their own money system that can be controlled by their financial guardians, if they have those, or can just be better managed. Money management practices. Another article I'll talk about. I'll have an article about that. Money management practice, but PayWave and just safe sort of security habits to be adopted around the use of credit cards and money, what's in the account and available, all needs to be assessed and condoned by the financial guardian or the person themselves if they're in charge of their own money. So you can have multiple people handling the money going out of a residential home, as long as it's ledgered correctly. And we're not talking about massive amounts of dollars, but the onus is on us to make sure that all acquits and is done fairly by the client, and any anomalies are to be shared with our team supervisor. Have risk assessments at the core of the ISP. So if the client has behaviours of concern out in the community, or if they have from everything from that to a propensity for diabetic episodes or asthma, all these things need to be at the forefront of, or an allergy to bees even, needs to be at the forefront of each ISP. It's usually only 3 or 4 things, so they could be risk. It needs to be really brought to the forefront and needs to be in the back of the mind of every support worker when they're interacting with certain clients. Of course, there's varying degrees of how much support people need in certain areas, but this needs to be really brought at the forefront in a written format, in a dedicated format that people can go to often and can draw upon. So a booklet locked away from it in a confidential and private, another article, sort of setting, but can be accessed by support workers. So you're all on high alert about these risks, and they're at the forefront. So you discuss these risks at team meetings, and they're at the forefront of every document. Have correct procedure and management plans up to date, and make sure that they're discussed all the time at team meetings. Okay, so thanks very much. That was about careful and compliant approach. Yeah, thanks a lot.